Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, when I'm going to sports shows, one of the things that people ask me constantly, and this is from other areas now, these sports shows aren't around here, but I'm amazed to sort of hear and see how much people are not into catch and release. When they talk about coming to our area, one of the first things they ask me is, what's the limit? What's the limit on how many fish can you bring back? What size do they have to be to keep? So that's still a part of fishing, and it's still something that I think we have to be aware of. We can't criticize them too heavily for that because that's been part of tradition. And a lot of areas, their area isn't based on that fishing resource like this is. That isn't a part of what makes their area so special and so vital to them. They may have some fish, they may have waters, but not the same as what we have here, and that's why we can draw them here. But let's look at what we should know about eating fish, because first of all, not all fish are the same. Every fish has a different flavor because they're different. They're different from one another, and some taste better than other, and that's going to all be about personal preference. Some of the fish that I think commonly most people think taste better are panfish, and there's a reason for that. Walleye are a form of perch. They're not a pike like most people think. They're actually a great big perch, and we know that perch taste wonderful. Catfish, and most people around our area wouldn't eat catfish, and we have fabulous catfishing in certain waters. We really do, and they pretty much go unknown. And people that do catch them, they say we'd never think of keeping them and eating them. Oh, no, they don't taste good. Well, think of all the restaurants all through the South, and even I can give an example, Cracker Barrel, which we have several of those up in the North Country. Well, their prime menu offerings is catfish. And I've eaten catfish all over the country, and I think they're fabulous, cooked in the way I guess Southern people cook them. And a cousin, or maybe not even a cousin, a smaller version of a catfish is a bullhead. And we've talked about all the bullhead dinners that we've had through all the years here. But catfish are pretty good as well. And I think trout are wonderful. Now, the other thing we have to look at, though, not just the flavor of these fish, but also the safety of them. And we know we're constantly warned by the DEC, by the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, by different agencies that it's dangerous for us to eat fish, especially pregnant women, because of the pollutants that they carry in their body. And even though we're constantly trying to be less pollutant, to look more at being careful about all that and having restrictions on factories and so forth, still, once those pollutants go into the fish's body, they don't leave. They stay there for the life of the fish. And pollutants like that are carried in the air and through the water, pollutants like mercury and chemicals and so many other types of pollutants, and they get in the fat cells of the fish and they stay there. And some fish are more susceptible to pollutants than others. Some, just because of the nature of their body and their organs, they become more polluted. The older they get, the more polluted they are. So if you're going to eat one of those fish, eat a little one. Eat a young one. It hasn't had a chance yet to get all those pollutants in it. The other thing is, it's important to realize that if they're predator fish, the main part of their diet is eating other fish that have probably already got pollutants in them. So fish like muskies and northern pike and, believe it or not, smallmouth bass. Smallmouth bass are high in pollutants. And we don't want to eat them anyway because they're our glory, they're our glamour fish, they're our religious fish. People look up to them almost like they were on an altar. And that's fine. That's what we create, and that's what's really made us famous in this area, because we have the best smallmouth fishing any place. However, predator fish are going to carry more pollutants. So if you're going to eat fish, eat the smaller ones. Panfish are not predators the same. They don't have as many pollutants, and they also taste wonderful. Maybe that's the reason. Trout, most of them are raised in a hatchery, and so they haven't had all that time to be sort of infected by all these things coming in their water and through the air. And again, fish that feed primarily on the bottom or on vegetation or insects tend to be a bit less polluted. So finally, how you cook them can make a difference. And I'll tell you, the way I've been cooking them, or I shouldn't say me, but Linda's been cooking them for some time for us, is broiling. Broiling trout, broiling every type of fish that I have brought home for us to eat. Now, I haven't brought home a lot of them, but again, no matter what fish we bring home, we soak it in milk immediately. It's cleaned immediately, then soaked in milk, and then it's broiled. And I'll tell you, you broil it in olive oil, maybe put some garlic on or whatever. You don't have all that fat, all the grease that you do in other types of cooking. And it not only can make the fish, I think, a little bit healthier to eat, but it's been tremendously tasty. So, if you want to eat fish, be careful. Be aware of all the reasons why some are better than others. And maybe a better choice is just catch and release. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.